He has beaten the allegations. Code red, Itadori YUUJI has beaten the allegations. Thank you to our $5 patrons, Strawbones, Red4765, Midnight Gemlord, Sean, and Artgoon. And a very big thank you to our $25 patron, Alex Ice Rose. Now, we're on this breakdown / review of chapter 214 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Please don't leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a Patreon down below. You can support as low as $1 to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, let's hop into the review. What's up, guys? All the Hunts here, and here we are to talk about the next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen and do a review of chapter 214 of Peak of the best new gen. Like, legitimately, I don't know. Like, I'm so glad I read Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen changed my life. Okay. I may be gassing up a little bit too much. No, I'm not. Let's hop right into it. So we open up and we do get to see that Sukuna kind of underwhelmed me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the way his mouth was looking at the end of last chapter, I seriously thought he was gonna take a much bigger munch. Like, I get it. He literally bit Hana's arm off, which is still bonkers. But like, the way his teeth were teething, his mouth was mouthing, I was genuinely sitting back and wondering, golly gee willikers, fellas, just what does that mouth do? Like, I was really thinking it was going to be something ballistic, bonkers, crazy, but now he kind of just takes a little nibble, He even says, human, through and through. And he takes the nibble, and that's about it. He doesn't even take 2 bites. He takes 1 bite. Like, notably, there are definitely moments where, like, I will take a meal. Like, notably, if I have... What's a good example of this? Like, there's a place that sells biscuits. I'm going to be as vague as possible. But there's a place that gives out biscuits. And, you know, if I'm really feeling it, if I'm feeling, like, a little bit devious, a little bit disgusting, and I haven't eaten all day, like, I will not bite the biscuit. I will put the whole thing in and like chew it immediately. I will take 1 bite and it'll be the whole biscuit. And it'll be scrumdiddlyumptious, because usually the biscuits from that place are scrumdiddlyumptious. That's what I thought Sukuna was about to do. I thought he was about to just go and then just slurp Hana right on up. But not just a little nibble here and there. No, admittedly, it is like Gege. It's weird to say. Gege's always been pretty graphic. Like, go back to even the earliest parts of JJK, and, you know, Gege can get jacked up. But this is, like, really graphic. Like, you literally see Hana in absolute agony, her face covered in what seems like her own life as she's limply dropping to the ground. Interesting that Sukuna makes the comment of human through and through. That implies that he may have been going for Angel, like, to try and get her, or whatever their gender is, technique. But seemingly enough, she's human through and through. And that may be why Sukuna didn't take multiple bites, because there was no point. Like, maybe if he had bitten the wings, or maybe tried to eat the halo or something like that, then maybe he would have gotten the technique, because those are obviously like angel specific things. We saw young Hana, she didn't have that, but it appears that he doesn't even bother checking that. He just took a bite out of the arm, didn't get anything, and was done with her. And the thing is, he is so done with her. Like, it is absolutely ballistically bonkers how Gege did her. Like, legitimately, this is Angel, a character who is proving to be arguably like top 1 in the verse just last chapter, while like mentally nerfed and mentally suppressed and all that, while not really wanting to do it. And we know in JJK, if you have a mental nerf, no matter who you are, it drastically affects your power level. So Hana came out here and was already showing that she was low-key top 1 in the verse. She can negate your curse technique, just turn it off if she really wants to, and can hit you with a gigantic beam of light. She went from top 1 to like bottom rung, because Sukuna literally throws her against the railings, throws her limp body. Her arm is still on the building, by the way. Like, her actual arm is still on the building. He takes her limp body, throws it up against the railings, and proceeds to watch as it just falls. Like, Hana got no dips. Admittedly, I will give Yuki something, even though I'm also a bit disappointed that she only got 1 real fight, and even then, she didn't really get to win in her final big attack, because she had to hold it back to save the entire planet. Didn't do anything but make Kenjaku giggle. I did feel bad for her, but I also now feel bad for Hana, who was hyped up for all this time, was given all this build-up, even had a really cool intro fight a little bit, where she just negated Nue and, fought Sukuna, but then in the very next chapter, she gets her arm bit off and thrown through a railing and drops to the ground. Like, she gets so disrespected in this chapter that we don't even get to see her fall. We just get an off-screen splat. Dog. Dog. Why'd you have to do it? I hope she's fine. It's very likely, considering how old and wise Angel seems to be. I definitely assume they have some variation of RCT. It's highly likely that Hana and thus Angel are just in physical shock right now. Like, you try getting your arm bitten off. Tell me what you think your body's going to go into with that. So I'm assuming once they land and once they splat, they're probably going to heal up and probably rejoin the fight. I think they're still going to be the key to saving Megumi, especially after seeing how this chapter goes by the end. So I think they'll be fine, but darn, this was undeniably disrespectful. But speaking of undeniable things, it's kind of undeniably insane that we see Itadori Yuji, the man who was punched to like 2 buildings, standing up and walking. He's legit just walking down the street. Do my 6 foot. I'm sorry. But we see he's just standing and moving competently. Huh? Like, we gotta realize, bro literally had his back blown out. Like straight up, his back was blown out. And we know it was blown out too, because we see there's a hole in his hoodie. Meaning that when I wondered, like a chapter, or I think it was literally last chapter, or 2 chapters ago, whether or not, like, Meguna punted through Itadori's body. No, he did. He did. He very definitively did. But Itadori's back is just fine. So I'm not sure what that means. Because notably, his pinky is not healed. You can still see his pinky is still gone. So he doesn't have that back. But seemingly enough, unless maybe Sukuna didn't actually pierce him, maybe he only got to do like a certain amount. But still, bro got thrown through multiple buildings by the King of Curses and is walking around like it's just a regular Tuesday. And sure, there's nothing in his eyes. There's absolutely nothing in his eyes. That boy is gone. He is off the finest of enraged Za. Like, legitimately, this is the kind of energy that I felt when Gojo just appeared. Like, I specifically remember reading the Gojo's past arc for the first time after Toji had offed him. And I knew Gojo was alive, so I knew he had to come back somehow. But when Toji walks out of the building and Gojo is just there, not, he doesn't walk up or anything, he's just there. It's just like this. This parallels Gojo's awakening so well, because Itadori just appears. Hana literally got treated like a basketball or something, like thrown into a railing and gone. No, but Itadori just appears and is standing there, staring up at where the King of Curses resides, with eyes so tiny and pinpoint, you can feel that there's just nothing behind them. And not in the, oh, this is a cute, funny little dog that does not have any perception of anything. No, like the absolute blind and unyielding rage that is flowing through Itadori Yuji's veins right now could probably slaughter 10 men on its own. And ironically enough, I'm not sure if it's like just how I'm seeing it, but low-key looks like in this one bottom left panel that he has the slightest, just the slightest of smiles. Bro has lost it. He is, and to be fair, if he has truly lost it, notably we see Sukuna looking down on him. If he truly has lost it, I don't blame him. Bro has legitimately lost everything. There's nothing left in Itadori's life. His master is still sealed away. His best female friend, as far as he knows, may or may not just be alive anymore. His best friend in Megumi is now possessed by the creature that gave him a new life, yet simultaneously ruined it. Everything he knows and loves is at stake right now, and he literally may have lost it forever. Like, him awakening here is very similar to Gojo, also in the near-death sense. Bro literally may have just almost died. Like, presumably, even though I do agree with the common consensus that Itadori may just overall be a better vessel in terms of just the physicality, because he has a much higher, stronger physical base than someone like Megumi. Even still, this is 15 Finger Sukuna in Megumi's body with that much level of reinforcement punching through what should be a little or no curse energy Yuji, and Yuji just ate it, munched it, devoured it like he a Blue Lock character or something, and then proceeded to stand back up like nothing happened. Like, Brody is different right now. Brody is indubitably different right now. He is terrifying, he is monstrous, he is beastly. To the point where I love that Sukuna walks up with his hands in his pockets. Like, did Brody even have pockets on his original pants? I don't know, but he's really posted up, like, thumbs out of the pockets and everything. Like, really a classic stance. And he's looking down, and suddenly, he sees that a building, for one reason or another nearby, has shattered. Or at least a piece of it has. And we see the reason that building is shattered is because Itadori Yuji, Itadori Yuji has appeared on that building and is still glaring at him with the rage of 1,000 men. Like, legitimately, Itadori is moving like a beast, like a real monster, and I love it. And the thing is, we waste no time, dog. He is not playing any games because Meguna's like, dude, really? I punted you through 2 buildings, dog. You couldn't let me munch in peace. I just had to wipe the remains off. All these flies are here. My curse technique is still shut down because of that stupid angel. What are we doing? And the thing is, Itadori tells Sukuna exactly what he's doing because Brody squats. And, like, notably, the building was already a bit cracked from him landing on it. And I know Itadori, I believe he's like 80 kilograms, which is pretty impressive for a guy his size. He's not the biggest, so the fact that he's 80 kilograms of pure solid muscle is already pretty impressive. But he cracked the building from landing on it. He proceeds to absolutely decimate that bad boy because he leaps with so much force to reach Meguna that bro straight up shocked. Like, we rarely see Meguna caught off guard, or well, Sukuna in general, we've rarely seen him caught off guard, shocked, or anything. But no, Itadori leaps at him with so much force that Meguna actually looks a bit concerned for half a second, like, wait a second, what? And admittedly, I don't blame him, because for all intents and purposes, Itadori was strong at the beginning of the series, right? And we even saw a cursed energyless, quote-unquote, Itadori fighting against Higuruma. He could keep up with a grade 1 sorcerer level opponent with literally just his base physicals. So maybe this isn't out of the realm of his grade 1 self. Like, maybe he is really just like a nigh on special grade in terms of physical ability with cursed energy, and even without it, he's still like very high grade 1, and other grade 1s like Nanami and Toto could do something like this. But I don't know. The way Sukuna reacts here, the way he seems shocked, it seems highly unlikely. I think Itadori literally has just awoken and gotten some sort of amps. However, unlike Gojo, and I think this is a very interesting difference between the two, unlike Gojo, who when pushed to near death awakened to a new level of strength and was like almost crazily mad and detached, like Brody was literally laughing. I love, that probably is my flat out favorite scene of Gojo just because we see him so unhinged, and I love my characters who are usually composed becoming unhinged. But like, Itadori is not unhinged here. He is so deeply rage fueled. He is so fueled by emotion that all he can do once he gets his hand on Maguna's neck is yell, Sukuna! Like, bro, the fury, the anger, the untold wrath of this deity right here, like, bro. And once again, bro is doing this with presumably low amounts of cursed energy. Like, there's a certain idea I'm wondering here. One, I wonder, is Itadori like a heavenly restriction user now? Because notably, I could see someone like Maki or Toji doing this. Usually they move with much lighter steps, so they wouldn't actually do it, but the feats that Itadori are performing here seems definitely like something in these ranges, like the ability to leap high bounds and tackle Sukuna and stuff like that. Like, all that seems legitimately viable for a heavenly restriction user. And notably, we do see that Itadori no longer has Sukuna markings on him. And previously, he didn't have cursed energy at the start of the series when he was just a super strong dude. So maybe after all this time, Sukuna accidentally ended up making Itadori stronger by giving him heavenly restriction, if purely by accident. And maybe, just like Maki did at the beginning of this series, Itadori at the start of the series, due to his lineage from Kenjaku, had the slightest amount of cursed energy. Just that little bit that kept it just barely imperfect enough that it wouldn't be viable for him to really do anything without cursed energy. But now that all of it was taken away by Maguna's transfer, then hypothetically he's unlocked his full heavenly restriction potential. And that would also explain the weird healing. Like, if you think he got his back blown out, the reason he may have been able to recover so fast is because we know heavenly restriction users can heal non-fatal wounds, admittedly. Toji did die when he had his whole torso blown out, but non-fatal wounds pretty quickly and pretty well. So Itadori may have had just a couple of seconds where he was allowed to heal enough that he could do something like this and get access to his full strength. And I really, really like that. And also, I have to admit, Megumi is shredded. Like, I'm not sure if this is Sukuna's curse energy buffing Megumi up or something, but like, bro has well-defined abs, his muscles are huge, bro has gains, 4 gain, like, shout outs to Megumi, bro. He really been training. However, we do get to see that even with Itadori's new, like, insane physical strength, the ability that allows him to clear buildings and, like, to be fair, Sukuna doesn't get too dragged, but Sukuna is, like, their hands are on each other's necks. A base Itadori shouldn't be able to do this to Megumi, even with Megumi's lower physicals, with the amount of curse energy that Sukuna has. But it's crazy that Itadori slams Sukuna so hard into another building, and Sukuna recovers out of the smoke, and he's like, what's going on? Where did this strength come from? Which is interesting. So this does seem to be beyond regular Yuji. Like, we can't, like, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about that. Oh, you know, well, the discussion around this chapter happened when the spoilers came out. I saw the spoilers. I didn't talk about them mainly because, like, this is a very combat heavy chapter. There are some things I do want to talk about and discuss, but I knew I would literally say everything I wanted to say about the chapter if I talked about the spoilers. So I want to save it for the review. But with that being the case, it is pretty buku bonkers that even Sukuna notes a difference. And note, Sukuna definitely had full control over Yuji's physicals. Like, every time he took over Yuji's body, he did have his physicals. So Sukuna, someone who literally was Yuji for a while, is noting that this strength is even higher than it was before, to the point where it's actually challenging him. Notably, it's not challenging him too much. Megumi doesn't actually take any visible damage from this short interaction, which, once again, King of Curses, makes sense. But still, it's interesting that Sukuna is able to note the difference. This, like, building collapsing, building destroying level of strength is something much farther beyond what Yuji already had access to. And speaking of Blue Lock, we see that Yuji, with this new strength, is wasting absolutely negative time as he proceeds to punt a piece of building at Megumi so hard it sends him flying. Like, legitimately punt. Like, he straight kicked it with such ferocity and accuracy that Megumi couldn't even dodge it. Like, notably, we have seen Megumi, or Sukuna, is just the kind of guy who will sit there and block and, like, take hits. Like, against Mahoraga, despite the fact that he could have casually bullied Mahoraga as he did, he actually did stand there and, like, block attacks from him, and also get hit when he very easily should have been able to dodge, at least based on the rest of his physicals. So obviously this isn't necessarily too impressive. Once again, this interaction doesn't even seem to damage Megumi at all, but still, the fact that Yuji's doing these physical things that I don't think we could have pictured him doing before is absolutely bonkers. And we see Yuji is, once again, still not wasting any time. He hits the dash and makes it go fast. He couldn't care about the fame. All he wants is them bands. He picks up a pole and smacks up his mans. Because, like, legitimately, he takes this pole straight out of the ground, concrete attached and all, and aims directly for Sukuna's whole domer. And we get a very interesting line here, which is why I do want to double check this. I may make a community post depending on what is said about this in the official translation. But, interestingly enough, Sukuna says, right, this brat is from back then. What? So Yuji himself is an incarnated sorcerer? At least that's what that's implying, right? Like, he doesn't say something that he could have said to word this differently, and this may be how Viz translates it, so it may be different. But something in the official translation that I expected this to say, and what I thought it said upon first reading it, is that, right, this brat has been strong since back then. Which makes sense, because Yushi's always been strong. And maybe you could just go with the idea that Sukuna never actually accessed all of Yuji's full potential, because he was so focused on using his own cursed energy to amp Yuji's base body. He was only going with what he had seen from Yuji, and thus this could be a higher level state. But no, supposedly enough, based on locking eyes with Yuji here, and Yuji has, like, his pupil sparked with lightning, Sukuna recognizes him as someone from back then. But who? And why? And how is Itadori born this way? Because notably, this is just Itadori. We've never had any inclinations of him being an entirely separate character. Notably, he could just be, like, one of the cursed paintings. It's entirely possible Choso acknowledges him as his brother, so maybe it is just one of them, but I don't think they were around. They didn't get to incarnate 1,000 years ago when Kenjaku first made them, so I'm wondering who Sukuna is referencing here. Though it's seemingly enough, he does recognize them, but unlike with Angel where he waited so he could jump her and knock her out, he's not actually afraid of this individual. So That's very, very interesting. The fact that Yuji hypothetically could be an incarnated sorcerer from back then, impressive. And specifically the back then that I'm assuming Sukuna is talking about is the 1,000-year prime golden age of Jujutsu sorcery period, the Heian period. So I wonder really who Itadori really is now. That's actually bonkers if he's someone important from that time period. However, we don't get to spend much time with that, as Yuji does in fact clock Megumi over the head with his massive pole, but Maguna's like, dude, you're impressive and all, your physicals are cool, but let's be real, dog. I'm still the king of curses. And he proceeds to hit Yuji with the smoothest, the butteriest, like sweet mother of mercy. I slid a little bit. Level of spin kicks. Like straight up knocks Yuji's jaw right on out. And he's like, that Kenjaku sure is twisted. Interesting. So this is Kenjaku's doing. Which makes sense. You know, Kenjaku's kind of responsible for all the incarnate sorcerers, including Sukuna, ironically enough. But still, the fact that Kenjaku took a sorcerer from 1,000 years ago and incarnated them into Yuji, presumably early enough that this, but then again, the sorcerer doesn't, like, the thing is, the reason I think this may just be a mistranslation is because Yuji has displayed no memories of the past, none at all. And presumably, hypothetically, you could just say, oh, well, Yuji is Yuji, right? So maybe the original baby that was going to grow into somebody got overridden by whatever cursed tool or cursed object that was put into baby Itadori before he became the Itadori we know. But then we still, like, maybe we haven't gotten enough of an introspection of Yuji, but he doesn't seem to have any memories of the 1,000-year past period. So was this a special case? Did Kenjaku specifically manipulate the cursed object he put into Yuji when he was a baby in order to make sure that all those memories were repressed? Or does it have something to do with the timing of it? Like, maybe an incarnated sorcerer can't take over a body if they're put in a baby's body because they wouldn't be able to operate it and their mental facilities would be too weak. I don't know, but now I'm definitely wondering about Yuji entirely, really. Who is he really, if this is the case? This may just be a mistranslation, and if it is, then it is. But Sukuna does go out of his way to note that Kenjaku sure is twisted, and Kenjaku is, one, Yuji's mom, and two, known for being extremely twisted. However, we do get to see that Yuji, after getting knocked in the face, one, manages to survive, which is very impressive. That kick probably would have soloed half the verse. And two, he says, you, all of you, why can't you just live normally? He's just so sick and tired of it. He's so tired of having to bury his own friends, so tired of having to fight this pointless fight, so tired of just being a victim of circumstance. I understand well, I don't understand it, but I can recognize the pain that Yuji's going through. And you see him yell at the top of his lungs, why can't you just live without causing suffering? And then he gets GG'd. Like, wholeheartedly, he just gets GG'd. He gets a dismantle or a cleave straight across his body. Now, if this was the grade 1 finger bearer, or not the grade 1, but the one finger bearer from all the way back to the beginning of the series, if this was a lot of characters, if this was pre-awakened Monkey, if this was early series Megumi, if this was a lot of characters, they would have just straight up perished. But Hyuji, Itadori, just proceeds to show that he is different because he ate it, munched it, scrum-diddly-umptious. Just like he ate that punch, he ate that cleave. Sukuna threw that bad boy out and Yuji just kneels a little bit and gets right back up. And we get an interesting point about Sukuna's ideology. To me, the real question is, why are you all so weak? Why do such weaklings such as yourselves cling to life? Tell me, can a creature that fails to live, fails to survive at just a touch, deserve to say that it always wants to be happy? Your suffering is natural. You people are meant to be devoured. That is I definitely need a Sukuna backstory. Like, we got Gojo's past. I don't care about the Culling Games. I don't care about the murder. I don't care about anything. Give me a Sukuna's past right now. The next chapter better be Sukuna's past. I want to see it. Because notably, we got to remember, Sukuna was born a human. He was a dude. He was just like Naoya, ironically enough. Naoya was a dude who became a curse. So Sukuna was a dude that became a curse, who became the king of curses. I want Sukuna's backstory, because this kind of ideology I feel like it can't just happen. I feel like there had to be some sort of influence in Sukuna's past that led him to this sort of mentality. The idea that he can just disrespect anything weaker than him because they are weak. That survival of the fittest mentality, the strong rule over the weak. Very, very interesting. I guess it was always implied, right? Like, Sukuna just viewed everything as playthings, as a king of madness and evil would. But it's interesting that he specifically justifies it under the moniker that I am strong, you are not. That is why I am supreme. Very, very interesting. However, we do get to see a very big flashback to the Versus Mahito arc. Right. These guys are, and always will be, curses. And we see, with that being said, Yuji rises up again and declares, then let's see if you can chew up me in my suffering. And once again, his eyes shrink down as he determines that this is it. He's going to give it his all. And Megumi, indifferent as always, as impassive as a wall to a gust of wind, he says, try me. And Itadori does in fact try him, and he proceeds to walk forward, and a slash appears on his foot. And Megumi grins as he begins to tear into Itadori. Slice after slice, cut after cut, tearing into everything Itadori is. And he simply walks forward as his flesh and bone is torn apart by the power of a cursed king. He looks on in nothing but determination. And we see he begins to sprint, tearing through Sukuna's attack. And Sukuna is shocked. How? How can he be that sturdy? He's really busting it out on the dance floor right now. What's going on? And we see that Megumi realizes that that's not it. Something different is happening. As his own hand twitches, he realizes that he may have not actually waited long enough for Megumi Fushiguro's soul to entirely break. And Yuji winds up the finest, juiciest, thickest haymaker this side of the Mississippi as he slams and glasses Maguna's jaw as Maguna's cursed energy output falls. And Fushiguro Megumi is alive, and he fights back from within. Now, W 12 out of 10 chapter. I love Yuji proving that he is in fact Yuji Itadori, but I'll admit, there are a little bit of things here. One, Yuji getting this massive power up. Yes, trust me, I'm happy that Yuji is strong again, but still feels a little bit much for it to go unexplained, like entirely unexplained. I get it. Sukuna is not at his full strength right now, and he's obviously toying around with Yuji, and with Megumi fighting back from within, I'm assuming he can't really even access his full strength if he wanted to, so it makes sense. But this is a little bit kind of silly, a little bit goofy. Something a little bit out of Gege's wheelhouse for Itadori to suddenly get this strong. If it is chalked up to a heavenly restriction thing, we get that explanation, completely negate that critique. I could not, if it's just heavenly restriction, I could not care less. However, the thing is, you could definitely justify it with the incarnated sorcerer stuff. I'm just not sure if that's a mistranslation or not. If that is proved to be true and not just a mistranslation, then yeah, then obviously Yuji Itadori has the perfect excuse for being this strong now that he's free of the other thing that incarnated through him, which is Sukuna. So then those two first complaints don't even exist. However, the one complaint that I think I will have, but I won't, once again, take any points off of the chapter for it, I do think Megumi is being kind of wasted as a concept. Only getting to see one of Megumi's Shikigami is a little bit wasteful of a character concept like this, especially after seeing Nue. I wanted to see the Divine Dog. I wanted to see the frogs. I wanted to see Rabbit Escape. I wanted to see Maharaga. Like, presumably, I'm not sure if they're going to succeed in beating Sukuna out of the body, which is why I'm holding back on this criticism, but there's a reason we all wanted the greatest jump fest ever. Like, we wanted Hikari to show up, we wanted Kashima to show up, we wanted everyone, Yuta to show up, we wanted the whole crew to show up and fight Sukuna, because that would have been metal, especially with his like super kaiju crazy next level summons. It would have been the perfect time for like a super battle royale, and once again adding to Jujutsu Kaisen. but it appears we may not get that. This seems to be a personal battle between Itadori, Megumi, and Sukuna. And don't get me wrong, this works 100% character-wise and thematically. That's the thing. It's a critique just because I'm not getting exactly what I wanted. That's fine. And I think there could be more done with Megumi as a whole concept. I think it'd be kind of weird if we got such hype buildup. This is the thing we've been building up to so far, and it gets solved in like 5 chapters. I would kind of feel that's a bit underwhelming, but even still, I think you can make it work. The way I would do it if I do want to like suppress Sukuna and keep him away for later, and or just completely get rid of him, is I would have Megumi get to keep the excess power that Sukuna gave him. Like Itadori got Sukuna's excess cursed energy. Or not even excess, his just cursed energy in general. Give Megumi that so we can still get the 10 shadows at its full potential, instead of just, you know, one summon and then Megumi reverts to using Cleave in this mantle. That doesn't even work against Sukuna, or it doesn't even work against Itadori. Like, I mean, to be fair, it does work. It's tearing him apart, obviously. He's bleeding out a lot in this last panel. But still, in comparison to what should be the King of Curses fully manifested in the body of a 10 Shadows user, getting one summon that doesn't even get to do anything other than appear and be cool is kind of underwhelming. That's my only fear. Once again, the pacing of JJK right now is the only thing that's kind of throwing me off from the series. I know Gege said he wants to end it this year, which is fine. You know, Gege can end the series whenever he wants, but I think there's a whole lot of missed potential that could be implemented. One, the whole military plot, pretty much nothing. We got nothing of that. We got like 2 chapters of it, and that is it. That whole subplot kind of wasted, I think. I don't think we're going to get anything from that, but we could. Once again, Gege has shocked me before. And 2, this concept, if Megumi or Sukuna really get shut down this quickly with no real extra help when Takaba and Maki and other characters could be here, not sure how I feel about that. I do respect it on a character and thematic front. These are the 3 characters most intertwined with Sukuna, literally entirely. The only character that may have more intertwinement is like Uraume, his literal servant. So I understand why it's happening like this, though I'm not exactly sure that I like that it's happening like this. However, overall, it was still a very, very, very W chapter. However, that's what I think. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. You support as low as $1 down below. Exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Zach the Pencil, writing off.